Hello garden friends! Today I'm coming to you from my office because it is, as we say in the industry, chili jelly. Seed starting season for peppers and tomatoes is in full swing right now, and it's my turn to tell you which seeds I'm starting this season and also why. And I do have more reasons than I just wanted to try it. But before I get into it, I wanted to put a big giant asterisk in front of this whole video, and it goes like this. With gardening, especially for beginners, the most important goal is for you to not get overwhelmed and for you to achieve some kind of success, however you define it. There is no shame in the kinds of seeds you use. Once you get comfortable with the basic concepts and get a firm grip on the process of gardening, that's when you can start diving into the more complicated aspects, such as the kinds of seeds you buy. But don't feel pressured if you don't feel ready. This is just my perspective. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into it. There are two main kinds of seeds, heirloom and hybrid. There are also, of course, more attributes that the seeds can have, such as organic or non-GMO. Heirloom seeds are the seeds that you get, you grow, you harvest, and then you can collect the seeds from those plants and repeat next year using the seeds that you collected. So you can technically buy that heirloom seed packet only once in your lifetime and just save your own seeds from there. All heirloom seeds are open pollinated, which means they just hang out in the field like a normal plant would, and they rely on air or pollinators to do the pollinating, and then the plant produces seeds that are true to type. All heirlooms are open pollinated, but not open pollinated seeds are heirlooms. The heirloom label is only given to a strain that has been around for at least 50 years. Many have been passed down for generations, which also explains the name. The only artificial selection happening with heirlooms is when the grower picks out only the biggest, nicest fruit to save the seeds from, or otherwise save seeds from fruit displaying the desired characteristics. For example, if you are trying to create an open pollinated variety of mini bell peppers, you might grow regular bell peppers and save seeds only from the smallest ones. The next season, you grow from these small seeds and again save seeds only from the smallest fruits. Over years, you may end up with a variety that consistently produces small bell peppers. And the seeds from this new variety will produce the same expected kind of result with little variation. All heirlooms are by definition non-GMO, so not genetically modified. However, not all of them are organic. That is a different kind of label, and it refers to what kinds of chemicals were used to grow the plant and to treat the seeds. Hybrid seeds, unlike heirlooms, cannot be saved by the gardener for growing the next season. You have to buy new hybrid seeds every year, which in my view is inherently unsustainable. But why can't you save hybrid seeds? Well, there are actually several different reasons. Number one, many of them are patented and consumers are not allowed to save the seeds. On the large scale, the big seed companies like Monsanto, I believe, have sued hundreds of farmers who they claimed illegally harvested seeds from the crops they grew on their own farms instead of buying another round of fresh seeds from the company the following season. Number two, why you can't save seeds from hybrids, many of them produce fruit that doesn't contain any seeds, or the seeds that it does contain are not valuable. Number three, in case of those hybrids that do produce viable seeds, the result you get may vary, and what you grow from them is not going to be the same as the plants that you harvested them from. Let's demonstrate very quickly why. To make a hybrid, you have to take pollen from daddy plant or plant A and deposit it onto the ovary of mommy plant or plant B. Then plant B produces fruit from which seeds for the baby plant or plant C are harvested. If you were to try to grow seeds from plant C, what you will get will be a mix of plants that look like plant A and plant B. If you do happen to get any plants that are similar to plant C, they will not be as vigorous, and that is due to a phenomenon called hybrid vigor. Scientists actually don't fully understand the exact mechanism behind it, but what happens is that with hybrids, the first generation after crossing plant A and plant B is extremely vigorous, more so than any of the parent plants. This cannot be replicated in any other way besides crossing plant A and plant B all over again every time. The creation of hybrids happens in tightly controlled conditions with no pollinators and no open-air exchange of pollen. After all, scientists need to be able to precisely control and monitor the performance of each cross that they try. Once they find the combination that yields the desired results, it takes at least 7 years for it to become stabilized and marketable. The time investment, along with the facility, materials, and staff needed, make this a very, very costly process. And who has a lot of money? That's right, big corporations. Smaller farmers aren't as likely to be able to do this, though it's not impossible, of course. There absolutely are small business hybrid growers out there. However, the vast majority of hybrid seeds on the market come from one of those huge conglomerates, and let's just say they don't have the best rap, and they are also very likely the reason why many of us even started gardening in the first place. For example, to escape the dangerous chemicals, to get better tasting and more nutritious produce, or to cut down on emissions produced by those big industrial players. I looked into several popular hybrid tomato varieties, and yeah, it appears that most of them are owned by one or the other big corporation. This means that even if you buy your seeds from a smaller, more friendly retailer, they purchase the seeds from the producer, and the producer is Monsanto, Bayer, and so on. But that's not the only problem with hybrids. I have recently seen a documentary that actually triggered me to think about the seeds I'm buying, and the documentary shows a different side of this issue. It is called Why Fruits Have Lost Half the Nutritional Value by Linda Bendali, and I watched it on a YouTube channel called ENDEVR. They cover the details of the modern seed business, uncovering things such as the fact that the majority of these seeds are produced in India by workers illegally being paid below minimum wage, and who also are very often children. But that's only one part of the problem. The other part is that the hybrid's nutritional value is basically half of what we get from heirlooms. That really opened my eyes and answered a lot of questions on my mind. Like, that's why we are all so unhealthy. Even if we eat healthy, even if we do everything right, the stuff we eat is still only giving us half of the nutrition that our bodies need. I investigated this further on my own and found studies that showed that the nutritional content is nearly halved when hybrids are bred to increase yields. I will link it in the description if you want to check it out. But basically, the minerals that the plant is capable of producing stay the same, but are spread across more fruits. Increased yields mean increased carbohydrate production at the expense of everything else, including taste. Now, of course, many hybrids are bred for taste specifically, such as the famous Sun Gold, which is supposed to be very sweet. I am, however, not sure about the nutritional content of this variety and whether it's lower than an equivalent heirloom tomato or not. I tried to look it up, but it's hard to tell, hard to compare, and hard to discern whether the nutritional information is for this variety specifically, or whether someone just assumed that all tomatoes are the same and copy-pasted the numbers from another source. I want to know that I am getting all the nutrients that nature intended. My goal is to be healthier, so from now on, I am going to grow only heirloom tomatoes and peppers and as many other veggies as I can. I'm sure I will slip up here and there and unknowingly purchase a hybrid, and in some cases, like asparagus, the disease resistance that the hybrid offers is worth the trade-off because the alternative is a very high likelihood of me never getting to have my own homegrown asparagus at all due to disease. But this applies to a very small number of cases. Stuff like tomatoes, peppers, broccoli, squash, cucumbers, and many others are worth it to me to grow from open pollinated varieties. Also, what I'm going after, it's that old-fashioned heirloom tomato taste. I grew some hybrid tomatoes and sure, they were better than store-bought, but I still felt that something was missing. And yes, that included the Sangold. I may still grow it because at least it's not owned by one of those evil giant corporations, but again, I am going to put effort into prioritizing heirloom varieties. To achieve this goal, I am going to try and support seed growing companies who only sell heirlooms. This year, I bought the majority of my seeds from Baker Creek, also known as rareseeds.com. By the way, if you think that limiting myself to heirloom only means a smaller selection, think again. I just counted and the Baker Creek website alone offers 110 different varieties of heirloom tomatoes. And that's just tomatoes. So don't believe anyone who is trying to convince you that there's barely anything out there besides the hybrids. So let me show you the heirloom open pollinated veggies that I'm going to grow this year. But before I get started, please comment down below and let me know which varieties you are looking forward to growing this year. Okay, let's get into it. First, we have this. Hold on a second. That's not a seed packet, is it? Let me try that again. Oh my God, again? What is it with these seeds? Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna grow tomato Amish paste, pretty self-explanatory. It's a tomato, good for paste, and I'm gonna make paste out of it. Well, tomato sauce. I'm also gonna grow 2 varieties of German tomatoes. German pink, which seems to be just a big so-called slicer, not only slicer, but just kind of beefsteak style tomato, and also the Riesentaube. Sorry about that. But these are kind of cherry tomatoes, smaller kind. And you may be wondering why German specifically? Well, as I'm sure you can tell, I have been living in Texas for a few years, but I actually was born and raised in Poland. And so the kind of flavor I really want to recreate in my garden is what I know from childhood. And that involves everything kind of geographically close to Poland, and Germany is geographically close to Poland. So that's why a lot of the stuff I'm growing is gonna be German if I can't find anything that's specifically Polish. Okay, time to bundle up a little bit. Also, I have progressively more hair on my shirt as I go through this video. Progressively more cat hair. Next one, Brandywine Red. I picked it up because it's a very popular heirloom. Everybody loves it. So I want to try it. Why not? So these are all the tomatoes I'm gonna grow this year. Only 4, which is still a lot. My garden's not that big. Peppers. Peppers is where I'm going to go a little crazy this year. Another fluke. I keep trying to get these seed packets. It's not working out. I don't know what's happening, guys. What's happening, pumpkin spice latte? All right, latte, get off me. Ah, please spare my skin. Okay, whew. All right, so I'm gonna do Orange Sun, which is a do-over from last year. Also do-over from last year, yellow peppers. And Shishito. I don't think I'm going to be growing this from seed again this year because I am overwintering one. These guys, it's also a do-over from last year. These are the pepper bushes that I was this close to eating, but my dogs decided to eat all of them before I got a chance to eat the ripe ones. So I also overwintered one of these bushes, and then I'm also going to start extras of these. Now, completely new varieties that I have not grown yet. Hungarian pepper, Ajvarski, if I'm saying that correctly. This one is extremely good for roasting and of course for paprika powder. So that's what I'm going to grow it for mostly, for paprika powder. because a good Hungarian paprika powder is incredibly expensive. I don't know if you know that, but we found that out the hard way lately. Also, these kind of jalapenos, they are supposed to be a more flavorful gourmet jalapeno with smoky sweet flavor and heat. It's an ancient variety from Oaxaca, Mexico. I'm not like crazy about jalapenos. I don't mind them. They go really well in some things, but I'm not crazy about them. But I'm growing them mostly because I really want to try making my own chipotle stuff, chipotle everything. Because I don't know if you know, but chipotle is actually just a mature jalapeno. I'm also gonna grow the habanadas, which is habanero without the heat. I have no idea what that means, but a lot of people I have seen online, a lot of YouTubers really rave about this variety. And I am really curious to see what the heck it means, because to me, the habanero, the flavor of the habanero is spicy. That's the flavor, it's spicy. What does it mean that it's the flavor without the heat? No idea what that means. I'm really looking forward to finding out. Also, I got this free seed variety, datil. It is just a very spicy kind of pepper. Blazing hot, it says. Vicious heat, complex fruity flavor. So that should be really good for hot sauce. And yes, this little white Polish girl is really good with heat, I'll have you know. I grew up having zero spice. In fact, there was a story about how I was hanging out with my friend in elementary school at her house, and her mom brought us KFC, and the KFC was too spicy for me. I could not eat it. I couldn't handle it. Granted, it was something more similar to a hot and spicy or whatever from McDonald's. It was not the regular KFC. It was the spicy kind of KFC. I don't know exactly what it was anymore, but I couldn't handle it at all. It was bad. They got a little mad at me for it. But I had never had anything spicy like that before. And not after. Not until I met my husband, who is Hispanic and therefore got me acquainted with spice. And I have actually surpassed him in spice tolerance. I was a very dutiful student, and when it comes to especially Asian spice, like Thai hot chili peppers, I can handle more of that than he can. He can kick my butt when it comes to Mexican spice, obviously. It's in his genes, I guess, and he grew up with that more so than me. But when it comes to Asian peppers, my spice tolerance is better than his, so that's a little crazy. I'm not sure what that counts as, but yeah, I can handle spice very well these days. Wasn't always like that, but now I can. Lastly, what I'm looking forward to trying the most is bell pepper called Etiuda, and that is a Polish variety. I was always sad that I can never get that flavor of bell peppers that I got used to growing up, but this could be it. And I am really excited about it. As I mentioned, I'm going to be growing most of these for the first time. If I like them, I can save these seeds and keep that going pretty much forever. If I choose to do so, my seed costs the next year may very well be zero. That probably won't happen because us gardeners just can't help ourselves, but it is comforting to know that this safety blanket of sorts is there should I need it in case of an economic crisis or other unforeseen circumstances. Also, I can have extra seeds for trading, in which case my seed costs would still be close to zero moving forward. What I'm talking about are seed swap groups, either local or on Facebook. How the Facebook groups work is that you make a list of all the seeds that you're willing to trade, as well as what you're looking for, and then you look for other people's lists and you make an offer to the person, and then you agree to what you're exchanging and you mail those seeds to each other. So if I save a bunch of my own seeds and find someone who wants to trade for them, I can still try new things just for the cost of shipping them via USPS. I swapped some seeds last year, and in return I got awesome sunflowers, hibiscus, and much more. I am already getting sunflower volunteers sprouting all over my garden from the one that I grew last year from the trade. And thanks to the hibiscus seeds, I was able to save my own. So now I will have an indefinite supply of hibiscus. Even with the packets I just showed you, I probably won't use up all these seeds at once. So I might as well offer them up for trade. This way they won't go to waste and I will get more plants. Mwahaha. I also have to mention that saving your own seeds is better for the environment too, because you are, of course, first of all, not supporting some of the agricultural corporations that knowingly pollute our planet and poison everything around us. Secondly, this also cuts out the emissions from shipping your seeds across the globe or across the country. Note that I don't want to make it seem like buying seeds at all is unethical, but these are the benefits of growing with heirlooms as opposed to hybrids. As we near the end of the video, I once again want to reiterate that for beginner gardeners, the most important thing is to not get overwhelmed. So if you are watching this and it's all starting to sound very overwhelming, just don't worry about it. Seriously. Get out there and garden in a way that's easiest and most attainable for you. Then once you get comfortable and know what you're doing on a basic level, then you can come back and consider the points I mentioned in the video. But until then, if it's too much, just don't worry about it. Gardening in general is better for our planet and our communities than not gardening at all, no matter how you do it. I have personally reached a point where I feel I have a very good grasp on the basics of gardening, and now I am exploring topics that are deeper down the rabbit hole, and that was my motivation behind this video. Okay, if you made it this far, please leave a seedling emoji in the comments to let me know that you've watched it this far, and also let me know your thoughts on the hybrid versus heirloom debate. I would also love to see your favorite seeds that you have grown year over year, you know, for inspiration. Please drop a like and subscribe. It will really, really, really help me out. Thanks again for watching, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. So this is Cappuccino. We received him from the Universal Cat Distribution System. He ran up to me in the freeze. I was going to check my mail and I hear meowing and I see this little guy running towards me from across the street, and we have a new cat now. Yeah. I looked around to check if anybody's missing a kitten, checked online, checked all the missing pet boards and stuff, but no, nobody is actively looking for him that I could find. He's a very sweet kitty. He's a little purr machine, and he's already getting along with our dogs very well, especially our potato, our puppy Tato. They play together. And yes, they play together. Sometimes some people can't tell whether the animals are playing together or whether one of them is fighting for its life. But in their case, they're very much playing together. There's very much switching of roles and stuff like that. And Cappuccino actively goes after Tato. Whereas if he was scared, I would imagine he would actually run away from him all the time. He is estimated to be 5 to 6 weeks old. So he is an age at which he is already weaned from the mother's milk. He is a bit too young to be away from his mom and his litter mates. But it is what it is. We could not find the mom or litter mates, and I could not just leave him for him to be claimed by his mom because it was actually freezing. So he would have possibly died if I have left him out there. So yeah, meet Cappuccino. What a little troublemaker. He's your little troublemaker. Say hi, Cappuccino. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll put you back. I'll put you back. Don't worry.